Lil Durk's case is getting messier and messier with every day that passes. Here, let me tell you one thing. Lil Durk was not charged with any murder. He was arrested as an associate in a murder case on August 19, 2022.
Well, let's talk about Durk. So there's new paperwork on Durk, and they're claiming there's like 6 new hits that they're trying to put on him. Seems a little far-fetched.
See, for me, because I'm such a Durkologist and I've been following this stuff for so long, I've been thinking that there's 6 murders that Durk might have had something to do with. Like, so this new paperwork for the first time, and I've literally been saying this for years. It doesn't give me too much pleasure to say I was right about this, but I've been saying for ages that incident in Waycross, Georgia in May 2021, where a bunch of guys shot up Quando Rondo in his car 100 times. I've been saying that had something to do with the beef with the BDs from Chicago. People said it was Cap, then there was some guy who was meant to be a BD from Georgia that was claiming the hit on behalf of OTF, and then nobody really wanted to talk about that. And it's just been revealed in that paperwork that the feds are trying to say, no, that was a conspiracy with Durk and another person who is redacted from the paperwork, that attempt on Quando Rondo's life was a hit in 2021 that they attempted and failed, and that then there was allegedly a total of 6 additional, in addition to the hit that killed Savia Robinson, there were 6 additional hits that Durk put out. It doesn't say exactly who they were on, whether they were all at Quando Rondo, whether they were all different people. I could probably conjure up six different scenarios where stuff like this has gone down, and you know, it's possible that the feds are going to try and connect that to Durk. But to me, it's like, for the first time, I've been saying, yo, this is Quando Rondo gets shot at in 2021 100 times, and then it will just get swept under the rug and no one ever talks about it again. But it's like, now it's in the paperwork. I'm like, yo, he's in a lot of trouble, because if it's taken 4 years for that to even get into the paperwork, but like the feds are on it and they probably got more behind the scenes, that there's a big section of that part in the paperwork that's redacted. I would believe that that's basically a statement that they're going to rely on from court from the confidential witness who was actually involved in organizing that hit.
There are a lot of rumors on social media trying to prove Lil Durk is a suspect, but the evidence doesn't show him as a suspect. The streets are watching, but so is the federal government. And Chicago's own Lil Durk, born Durk Banks, is facing what could be the fight of his life. Not in the booth, but in a federal courtroom where the murder-for-hire case that's been building against the OTF, only the family founder, just took a dramatic turn that's got the entire hip-hop community on edge. Judge Michael W. Fitzgerald dropped a ruling last Friday, February 13th, that's sending shockwaves through the rap game, deciding that some of Durk's own lyrics, visuals from his music videos, and even comments from his supporters can be used as evidence when his trial kicks off on April 13th, which is the kind of precedent that has artists, producers, and legal experts all asking the same question: where's the line between artistic expression and self-incrimination? Durk's defense team came to that courtroom swinging, pushing hard to keep all his lyrics out of the trial, arguing what defense attorneys in hip-hop cases have been arguing for years, that rap is a genre rooted in storytelling, hyperbole, and creative expression. It's fiction, art, performance, but the prosecution is painting a different picture entirely. According to Complex's coverage of the proceedings, Judge Fitzgerald approved 4 song lyrics out of 13 excerpts that federal prosecutors wanted to introduce. 5 got the red light completely, denied outright, and the remaining 4 are in limbo. They'll only get admitted if the government can come back on February 23rd and prove their relevance in a way that satisfies the court, which is a critical date to watch because those 4 could tip the scales. What makes this especially significant is that some of the lyrics the judge explicitly rejected referenced following someone in a vehicle and opening fire, actions that mirror exactly what Durk is accused of orchestrating. And even the judge recognized that connection might be too prejudicial, too likely to sway a jury based on artistic content rather than actual evidence, which is a small victory for the defense, but the battle is far from over. It's not just bars on wax that are under scrutiny, because prosecutors are coming with receipts in the form of music video screenshots, claiming these visuals could demonstrate a pattern or even represent a bounty of sorts, with the government's theory being that certain imagery and content in Durk's videos amounted to rewards being offered to co-defendants who would allegedly carry out the hit on Quando Rondo. This is where the case gets murky and tragic, because the intended target, according to federal authorities, was Quando Rondo himself, but it was actually Quando's cousin, Lil Pab, born Savia Robinson, who lost his life in the shooting. And the prosecution is building a narrative that connects Durk's content directly to real-world violence, using his own creative output as the blueprint. One specific music video might still make it into evidence at trial, though the judge's ruling only permitted screenshots for now, with the prosecution arguing that this video contains coded messages or explicit references to the alleged conspiracy. And for Durk's legal team, keeping that video out of the courtroom entirely is crucial, because video is visceral, it's emotional, and it could have a powerful impact on a jury in ways that transcend the actual facts of the case. Perhaps one of the most unprecedented aspects of this case is the inclusion of fan comments from social media, as the government successfully argued that posts from Durk's supporters on his X account should be admissible to demonstrate something critical to their case: public pressure, with the narrative going that after the tragic death of King Von in November 2020, Durk faced intense scrutiny and demands for retaliation from his fan base, and the prosecution contends that these public calls for revenge created an environment where Durk felt obligated to respond, not just in his music, but through actual criminal action, essentially arguing that the court of public opinion in hip-hop culture pushed Durk toward violence. This opens up a Pandora's box of legal and cultural questions about whether artists are responsible for how their audience interprets their persona, whether fan pressure constitutes a motive for crime, and in the insular world of drill music and street rap, where authenticity is currency and the line between persona and reality is deliberately blurred.
These questions become even more complex and dangerous. Adding fuel to the prosecution's fire are statements Durk made during a 2023 interview on DJ Academic's podcast, where he allegedly addressed the pressure he felt following King Von's death. And while the specific statements haven't been made public in full, the government clearly believes they help establish motive and intent, turning a casual podcast conversation into potential courtroom ammunition that could help seal a conviction. What we're witnessing here is a fundamental clash between hip-hop culture and the criminal justice system, where the very elements that make drill music authentic and compelling, the street narratives, the references to real beef, the memorial tributes to fallen friends, the response to disrespect, are being weaponized by prosecutors who argue these aren't just artistic choices, but admissions of criminal conspiracy and evidence of guilt. The broader implications for the rap community are staggering, because if Durk's lyrics and videos can be used to convict him, then every drill artist, every street rapper who traffics in authentic narratives about their environment becomes vulnerable to having their art turned against them in a courtroom, creating a chilling effect where the choice becomes either sanitize your content and lose credibility with your audience, or keep it real and potentially hand prosecutors a roadmap to your conviction. This case is also highlighting the unique way that Chicago drill music, which emerged from some of the city's most violent neighborhoods and explicitly chronicled gang conflicts and street warfare, has created a documented record that law enforcement can mine for evidence, turning Instagram posts, YouTube videos, Twitter fingers, and SoundCloud Lucy's into a digital paper trail that follows artists from the booth to the federal building. The death of King Von looms large over this entire case, because Von, born Davon Bennett, was more than just Durk's artist or affiliate. He was family, a brother in every sense that matters in the streets. And when he was shot and killed outside an Atlanta hookah lounge in November 2020 during an altercation with Quando Rondo's crew, it sent shockwaves through Chicago's rap scene and created what prosecutors are now characterizing as an obligation for revenge that Durk couldn't walk away from. The government's case essentially argues that Durk couldn't separate his role as a successful recording artist and label executive from his roots in Chicago's street culture, that the demand for retaliation from fans, from the streets, from his own sense of loyalty, pushed him to allegedly orchestrate a hit that went tragically wrong when Lil Pab was killed instead of the intended target. As April 13th approaches, the hip-hop world is watching this case with intense interest because the outcome could reshape how courts handle rap lyrics as evidence, potentially setting precedents that will affect how prosecutors approach cases involving artists for years to come. And for Durk personally, a man who climbed out of Chicago's Inglewood neighborhood to become one of drill music's most successful exports, with collaborations with Drake, a loyal fan base, and a thriving record label, the stakes couldn't be higher as he faces the possibility of spending decades behind bars. His freedom, his career, his legacy all hanging in the balance, while 12 jurors decide whether his music was prophecy, confession, or simply art.